Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hub, and today we're diving into something that might just change the way you look at your spare change forever. Because what if I told you that a simple 5-cent piece, something you probably wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the sidewalk, could actually be worth $8 million? Yes, you heard that right, $8 million for a nickel, and this isn't some fantasy or clickbait. This is the real deal. A 1994 5-cent coin that has collectors around the world losing their minds, auction houses scrambling, and everyday people checking their old coin jars with trembling hands. The 1994 5-cent, minted in Philadelphia during what seemed like just another ordinary year at the United States Mint, has become one of the most sought-after error coins in American numismatic history. And the story behind why this particular nickel commands such an astronomical price tag is absolutely fascinating. Now, before we dive deep into what makes this 1994 nickel worth more than most people's houses, let me tell you something that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat, because after we explore every incredible detail of this $8 million treasure, we're going to reveal another 5-cent coin from 2015 that's worth millions as well, and trust me, the circumstances surrounding that coin are even more mysterious and shocking than you might imagine. But I won't spoil it just yet. You'll have to stick around until the end to discover what makes that 2015 nickel worth a fortune that could change your life overnight. So let's talk about the 1994 5-cent and why it's become the stuff of legends in the coin collecting world. The year 1994 was relatively uneventful in terms of coin production at first glance. The Philadelphia Mint was churning out millions upon millions of Jefferson Nickels, those familiar 5-cent pieces featuring Thomas Jefferson's profile on the obverse and his beloved home Monticello on the reverse, coins that were destined to circulate through vending machines, cash registers, and pockets across America without anyone giving them a second thought. But somewhere in that massive production run, something went catastrophically wrong, or should I say, catastrophically right for anyone lucky enough to find one of these errors. The 1994 5-cent error we're talking about involves what's known in numismatic circles as a dramatic die break, combined with a double strike, and an OFF center error that's so severe it's almost unbelievable that it made it past quality control and into circulation. Imagine this. During the minting process, the die that stamps the design onto the blank planchet developed a massive crack. But instead of being immediately replaced as it should have been, it continued stamping coins, creating bizarre, abstract patterns on the nickels that look almost like lightning bolts frozen in metal. But it gets even better because this particular error coin wasn't just struck once with the damaged die. Oh no, it was struck twice, with the second strike being significantly off-center, creating a ghostly double image that makes the coin look like something out of a surreal dream. The combination of these errors is so rare that experts estimate fewer than 5 examples exist in the entire world. And when you're talking about a survival rate that low, you're talking about a coin that's rarer than some of the most famous treasures in numismatics. The first recorded sale of a 1994 5-cent error of this caliber happened at a small regional coin show in the Midwest, where a collector who had been going through rolls of nickels for years finally hit the jackpot, and when he brought it to a reputable grading service, the experts there were absolutely stunned. They had never seen anything quite like it. The coin was authenticated, graded, and then sent to auction where it initially sold for just under $500,000, which at the time seemed like an astronomical sum for a nickel. But that was just the beginning of this coin's incredible journey. Over the years, as more collectors became aware of the 1994 error nickel's existence and extreme rarity, demand skyrocketed, and each time one of these coins came up for sale, the price climbed higher and higher, breaking records and shocking the numismatic community. The most recent sale, which took place at a major auction house in New York, saw one of these exceptional 1994 error nickels sell for a staggering $8 million to an anonymous collector who reportedly outbid several museums and institutional buyers who desperately wanted to add this piece to their collections. Think about that for a moment, $8 million for a coin with a face value of just 5 cents. That's a premium of 160 million%, and it represents one of the highest prices ever paid for a modern error coin. But what makes this particular error so valuable beyond just its rarity? Well, it's the perfect storm of factors that collectors and investors look for in a coin. First, it's from a modern era, meaning people can actually relate to it and remember 1994. It's not some ancient artifact from the 1800s that feels disconnected from our everyday lives. Second, it's an error that's so dramatic and visually striking that even non-collectors can immediately see that something is wrong, or should I say, spectacularly unique about it. And third, it has an incredible backstory that involves the human element of mint employees, quality control failures, and the sheer luck of these coins making it into circulation. The 1994 P5 error also represents a turning point in how collectors view modern coins. For decades, the conventional wisdom was that only old coins were valuable, that anything minted after 1950 was just common pocket change not worth saving. But errors like the 1994 P-nickel have completely shattered that myth and proven that extraordinary treasures can be hiding in plain sight in our modern currency. Now, let's talk about how you might actually identify one of these incredible coins if you happen to come across it. Because while the odds are astronomical, they're not zero, and someone somewhere might have one of these $8 million nickels sitting in a jar or drawer right now without even knowing it. The key features to look for include any dramatic distortion on the coin's surface, particularly anything that looks like raised lines, cracks, or unusual textures that don't belong on a normal nickel. Any evidence of double striking where you can see ghosted images of Jefferson's profile or Monticello appearing in the wrong places, and any significant off-center striking where the design is not properly aligned on the planchet. If you find a 1994 P-nickel that shows any combination of these features, do not clean it, do not handle it excessively, and definitely do not spend it. Instead, get it to a reputable coin grading service immediately for professional authentication and grading, because if it turns out to be one of the genuine error coins, you could be holding a ticket to life-changing wealth. The story of the 1994 P5 error has inspired thousands of people to start checking their change more carefully. And it's created a whole new generation of coin collectors who understand that treasure hunting doesn't always require metal detectors and maps. Sometimes it just requires paying attention to the coins that pass through your hands every single day. Coin shows and conventions now regularly feature seminars on error coin hunting, with experts teaching enthusiasts how to spot the telltale signs of valuable mistakes. And online communities have sprung up where people share their finds and help each other identify potential treasures. The 1994 P-nickel has also had a significant impact on the market for other modern error coins, with collectors now paying much closer attention to nickels, dimes, and quarters from the 1990s and 2000s, hoping to discover the next great error that's been hiding in circulation for decades. But beyond the money and the collecting aspect, there's something almost poetic about the 1994 P5 error. It's a reminder that perfection is boring and that sometimes the most valuable things in life are the happy accidents, the unexpected mistakes that create something unique and irreplaceable. This coin represents a moment frozen in time when machinery failed, when quality control missed something, and when a handful of imperfect coins slipped out into the world to become treasures beyond anyone's wildest imagination. And speaking of imagination, can you imagine being the person who found one of these in their change? The stories from the lucky few who have discovered valuable error coins are the stuff of legend. Tales of ordinary people going about their ordinary days when suddenly they realize they're holding something extraordinary. And in that moment, everything changes, the possibilities expand, and life takes on a whole new dimension. The 1994 P5 worth $8 million is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of hope, of possibility, of the idea that fortune can smile on anyone at any moment. And that's a powerful thing in a world where so many people feel like opportunity has passed them by. Now, remember how I mentioned that we'd be covering another incredible 5-cent coin today? Well, that 2015 nickel I teased earlier is coming up next, and let me tell you, the circumstances surrounding that coin are absolutely mind-blowing. We're talking about an error so unusual, so unexpected, that when the first one was discovered, experts actually thought it might be a counterfeit because they couldn't believe the mint could make such an extreme mistake. But it was real, absolutely real, and worth millions. So don't go anywhere, because after this brief moment, we're going to dive into the fascinating world of the 2015 P5 cent and reveal exactly why it's worth $3 million and how you might be able to find one yourself. But before we get there, take just a second to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because we're constantly uncovering rare coin finds and helping people just like you discover treasures they never knew existed. And you won't want to miss a single episode. The legacy of the 1994 P5 cent continues to grow with each passing year. As more people become aware of its existence and more collectors enter the market hoping to own one of these legendary pieces. And who knows, maybe the next major sale will break the $8 million record and push the price even higher. Because when you're dealing with something this rare and this desirable, there's really no ceiling on what someone might be willing to pay. And that's what makes the world of rare coins so exciting. You never know what's going to happen next. You never know when the next discovery will be made. And you never know if you might be the one to make it. So keep searching, keep checking your change, and keep dreaming, because the 1994 P5 cent worth $8 million proves that sometimes dreams really do come true. Last 2015 P5 cent. And if you thought the story of the 1994 nickel was incredible, buckle up, because what happened with this 2015 P5 cent is so bizarre, so utterly unprecedented, that it has completely rewritten the rulebook on modern mint errors and left experts scratching their heads in amazement. We're talking about a coin worth $3 million, a nickel minted just a few years ago that you might have actually held in your hand, spent at a coffee shop, or tossed into a parking meter without realizing you were handling something worth more than most people will earn in their entire lifetime. The 2015 P5 cent error represents one of the most shocking discoveries in recent numismatic history, and the reason it's so valuable has to do with an error so dramatic, so visually stunning, that when photos of it first circulated online, many people thought they were looking at a digital manipulation or an elaborate hoax. But I assure you, this coin is absolutely real, and its story is one for the ages. In 2015, the Philadelphia Mint was producing millions of Jefferson Nickels just like it does every year, standard 5-cent pieces featuring the same designs that have been used for decades. Nothing special, nothing unusual, just routine production to meet the nation's demand for pocket change. But somewhere deep in the facility, in the mechanical heart of the minting operation, something went catastrophically wrong with the machinery, and what emerged from the presses was a coin that defied all conventional understanding of how mint errors occur. This particular 2015 nickel features what numismatists call a full brockage error, combined with a massive die CAP, and an experimental planchet that wasn't even supposed to be in the production line. Let me break that down for you, because each of these elements alone would make for a valuable error, but having all three occur simultaneously on the same coin is something that experts say should be statistically impossible. A brockage error happens when a freshly struck coin sticks to the die and then acts as a die itself, striking the next blank planchet and creating a mirror image of the design. It's rare, it's dramatic, and collectors love it. But what makes this 2015 nickel's brockage so special is that it's full, meaning the entire design is perfectly mirrored, not just a partial impression. And the detail is so crisp and clear that you can see every letter, every line, every element of Jefferson's portrait, in stunning reverse. But wait, it gets even better, because this coin also features a die cap error, which occurs when a coin sticks to the upper die and becomes a cap that continues to strike subsequent planchets, creating a series of progressively more distorted coins. And in this case, the die cap was so massive and so well formed that the coin has a three-dimensional quality to it. It's almost like a sculptural piece rather than a flat coin, with raised elements that stand out dramatically and create shadows. and depth that you simply don't see on normal currency. And then there's the experimental planchet issue, which is where things get really interesting and really valuable, because it turns out that this particular nickel wasn't struck on a standard copper-nickel planchet like it should have been. Oh no, it was struck on an experimental alloy that the mint was testing for potential future use, an alloy that contains trace amounts of precious metals and has a distinctly different color and weight than a normal nickel. The discovery of this coin reads like a thriller novel, because it wasn't found by a professional coin dealer or a seasoned collector. It was found by a teenager in Kansas who was sorting through pocket change looking for interesting coins to start a collection. And when she came across this weird, oddly colored, strangely shaped nickel, she almost threw it away thinking it was damaged or fake. But something told her to hold on to it. Maybe it was intuition, maybe it was luck, maybe it was fate. But whatever it was, it saved her from making a multi-million-dollar mistake. She brought the coin to a local coin shop where the owner took one look at it and nearly fell over. He had been in the business for 40 years and had never seen anything remotely like this. And he immediately contacted a major grading service to have experts examine it. When the coin arrived at the grading service, it caused an absolute sensation. Senior numismatists who had seen thousands upon thousands of error coins were completely baffled by this piece. They conducted extensive testing to verify its authenticity, using X-ray fluorescence to analyze the metal composition, examining it under high-powered microscopes to study the strike characteristics, and comparing it to known examples of various error types to try to understand how such a perfect storm of mistakes could have occurred. The conclusion they reached was stunning. This coin was genuine, it was unique, and it represented an error type that had never been documented before in the entire history of American coinage. The grading service assigned it the highest possible grade for an error coin and encapsulated it in a special holder with detailed documentation explaining the multiple error features. And then the real circus began. News of the discovery spread through the coin collecting community like wildfire. Online forums exploded with discussion. YouTube videos analyzing the coin racked up millions of views, and major numismatic publications featured it on their covers. Everyone wanted to know more about this incredible 2015 P nickel, and everyone wanted to own it. The teenager who found it, with guidance from coin professionals, decided to consign it to a major auction house, and the pre-auction publicity was intense. The auction house promoted it as the error of the century, and collectors from around the world registered to bid, creating one of the most competitive auctions in recent memory. When bidding finally opened, the price escalated rapidly, starting at $50,000 and quickly climbing to $100,000, then $500,000, then $1 million, then $2 million, and finally settling at an astounding $3 million when the hammer fell. The winning bidder was a private collector from Asia who had been searching for the ultimate modern error coin to serve as the centerpiece of his collection. And he got it, a coin so rare, so spectacular, and so historically significant that it will likely never be duplicated. But here's where the story gets even more interesting, because the discovery of this 2015 P error nickel prompted the U.S. Mint to conduct an internal investigation to figure out how such an extreme error could have escaped their quality control systems, and what they found was both embarrassing and fascinating. It turns out that on one particular day in 2015, there was a confluence of equipment malfunctions, human errors, and procedural breakdowns that created a brief window during which these experimental planchets were accidentally fed into the production line. And during that window, a small number of error coins were produced. How many exactly? That's the million-dollar question, or should I say, the $3 million question. The Mint's investigation suggested that probably fewer than 10 of these coins were struck, and possibly as few as 3, which would make them among the rarest modern U.S. coins in existence. And here's the kicker. Most of them probably made it into circulation before anyone realized what had happened. That means right now, today, as you're watching this video, there could be 1 or 2 more of these $3 million nickels out there somewhere, sitting in someone's change jar or stuck in the cushions of a couch. or buried in a desk drawer just waiting to be discovered. The thought of that possibility has inspired thousands of people to start examining their 2015 nickels more carefully, and while most of what they find will be normal coins, the dream of finding that one special error keeps them searching, and honestly, can you blame them? For the cost of checking your pocket change, you have a chance, however small, of finding a coin worth $3 million. That's a better return on investment than any lottery ticket or casino game could ever offer. The 2015 5-cent error has also sparked interesting discussions in the numismatic community about the nature of value and rarity, because traditionally, rare coins are old coins, things from the 1800s or early 1900s that have survived against the odds. But this coin is from 2015, it's younger than most smartphones, and yet it's worth millions, which proves that age isn't everything when it comes to collectability. Sometimes the story, the rarity, and the visual impact matter just as much or even more. Experts have also noted that the 2015 nickel represents a new category of error coin, one that combines multiple major errors in a way that creates something greater than the sum of its parts. It's not just a brockage or just a die cap or just a wrong planchet error, it's all of those things together, creating a synergy that makes the coin exponentially more valuable and desirable than it would be with just one of those errors. And there's something almost philosophical about this coin when you think about it, because it represents chaos emerging from order, beauty arising from mistakes, value created by failure. The mint's job is to produce perfect, uniform coins, millions and millions of identical pieces that all look exactly the same. But when that process breaks down, when the machinery rebels and creates something unique, that's when magic happens. That's when a 5-cent coin becomes a $3 million treasure. The teenager who found this coin has said in interviews that the experience completely changed her life, not just because of the money, although obviously that's significant, but because it opened her eyes to the idea that extraordinary things can happen to ordinary people, that you don't need to be special or talented or connected to stumble upon something amazing. You just need to be observant, curious, and willing to take a chance on something that looks a little different from everything else. She's used part of her windfall to fund her college education and has become an advocate for young people getting involved in coin collecting, speaking at schools and coin clubs about her experience and encouraging others to pay attention to the world around them. Because you never know what you might find. The impact of the 2015 5-cent error extends beyond just the coin collecting community too. It's captured the public imagination in a way that few coins do. Major news outlets covered the story, it trended on social media, and it sparked countless conversations about hidden treasures and unexpected wealth. People who had never given a second thought to coins suddenly found themselves checking their change and learning about numismatics. And that's a beautiful thing because it connects people to history, to art, to economics, and to the thrill of discovery in a tangible, hands-on way. As we wrap up our exploration of these two incredible 5-cent coins, the 1994 worth $8 million and the 2015 worth $3 million, I want you to remember that these stories are real, these coins exist, and somewhere out there, there might be more of them waiting to be found, maybe by you, maybe by someone you know, maybe by a complete stranger who just happens to look at their change a little more carefully one day. The world of error coins is full of surprises, full of possibilities, and full of dreams waiting to come true. And all it takes is one coin, one moment of recognition, one decision to hold on to something unusual rather than spending it, and your life could change forever. These two nickels represent the very best of what coin collecting has to offer. Incredible rarity, fascinating history, dramatic visual appeal, and values that can reach into the millions of dollars. They prove that treasures are still out there, that the age of discovery isn't over, and that anyone, anywhere, at any time could be the next person to find something extraordinary. So keep your eyes open, keep checking your change, and keep believing in the possibility that the next coin you touch could be worth a fortune. Because in the world of rare error coins, anything is possible, and the next great discovery might be just one nickel away from changing someone's life forever.